You have been going to the gym for months. You are lifting heavier than when you started. You are not skipping sessions, and your muscles look almost exactly the same as day one. Here is the truth nobody tells you. Lifting weights alone does not make muscles grow. What happens inside the muscle after you lift is what makes muscles grow, and most gym goers are getting that part completely wrong. Here is what a muscle actually is. It is a bundle of fibers. Each fiber is filled with thousands of tiny protein filaments. When a muscle grows, and this is the part most gym goers never hear, it does not stretch. It does not inflate. It adds more protein filaments inside each fiber, making the fiber thicker. More filaments equal thicker fibers. Thicker fibers equal bigger muscles. That is the entire mechanism. Think of muscle growth like a construction project. Your muscle fibers are the building. Protein is the brick. And your body has a construction crew, chemical signals that tell the crew when to show up and start building. When you lift weights, you send the signal. When you rest and eat protein, the crew arrives. When you do not rest or do not eat protein, the crew never shows up. The signal without the crew achieves nothing. Your muscle needs 3 specific signals to start the building process. Signal 1, mechanical tension. This is the heavy weight pressing down on the muscle. Signal 2, metabolic stress. This is the burning sensation you feel when the muscle is working hard. Signal 3, muscle damage. Tiny microscopic tears in the muscle fibers. You need all 3. Most gym goers are accidentally missing at least one of them every single session. Mechanical tension is the most important of the 3 signals, and the one most gym goers underuse. When a heavy weight stretches a muscle under load, it physically presses on tension-sensitive proteins inside the fiber. Those proteins activate a chemical pathway called mTOR, which is the construction crew signal. No heavy tension, no signal. No signal, no crew. No crew, no muscle growth. This is why lifting heavy matters. The burning feeling in your muscle during a tough set is not just discomfort. It is a second growth signal. When a muscle works hard and blood flow is partially restricted, metabolic byproducts build up inside. That chemical environment sends its own growth signal, separate from the tension signal. This is why high-rep sets with shorter rest periods can grow muscle, even with lighter weights. The burn is doing work. The third signal is muscle damage, and this is the most misunderstood one. When a muscle tears microscopically, especially during the lowering phase of a lift, it activates dormant repair cells called satellite cells that sit at the edge of each muscle fiber. These cells wake up, multiply, and fuse into the muscle fiber to repair and reinforce it. The new, reinforced fiber is thicker than the old one. That is muscle growth. Here is the part of every rep that most gym goers waste completely. The lowering phase, called the eccentric phase, generates more muscle damage and more growth signal than the lifting phase. When you drop the weight fast, you skip the most productive part of the repetition. 2 to 3 seconds on the way down every rep. This single change to your technique can dramatically increase your growth signal without adding any extra weight. Here is the biggest mindset shift in muscle building. Your muscle does not grow in the gym. Your muscle grows for the 24 to 48 hours after you leave the gym. The gym session sends the signal. Everything after the gym is where growth either happens or does not. If you are not eating enough protein and sleeping enough in those 48 hours, you are sending the signal but canceling the construction crew. Your muscle is not a loyal employee. It is a survivalist. The moment it adapts to a weight, it stops growing because it does not need to anymore. It only grows when the challenge exceeds what it has already adapted to. This is progressive overload. Add weight, add reps, or add sets every week or 2. If you are lifting the same weights you lifted 3 months ago, you are maintaining, not growing. The rep range that produces the most muscle growth is 6 to 12 reps per set. Heavy enough that the last 2 or 3 reps are genuinely difficult. That is the tension signal. Enough volume that the muscle is burning toward the end of the set. That is the metabolic stress signal. Below 5 reps, you are building mostly strength. Above 20 reps, you are doing endurance. 6 to 12 hits, both growth signals in the same set. Volume, the total number of sets you do per muscle group per week, is one of the most important growth variables. Research consistently shows that 10 to 20 hard sets per muscle group per week is the productive range. Below 10 sets, the stimulus is too low. Above 20, you are creating more damage than your body can repair. That is called junk volume, and it slows growth down. Count your sets. Most gym-goers are either well below 10 or nowhere near consistent. Most gym-goers think that training to absolute failure is what makes muscles grow. The research does not support this. Sets taken to 2 to 3 reps before failure produce essentially the same growth stimulus as sets taken to absolute failure, but they produce far less fatigue, faster recovery, and allow more total quality sets per session. Train hard, go close to failure, but leave 2 to 3 reps in the tank on most sets and you will grow just as well and recover far better. Rest periods between sets affect both growth signals. Rest less than 60 seconds and your next set is weaker. You lift less weight, less tension, weaker growth signal. Rest more than 5 minutes and the metabolic stress from the previous set has completely cleared. You lose that second growth signal. 2 to 3 minutes is the sweet spot. You recover enough to lift heavy again, but metabolic stress is still contributing. Protein synthesis, the construction crew working, only stays elevated for 48 to 72 hours after training a muscle. After that, it returns to baseline regardless of whether you trained again or not. If you train chest once a week on Monday, your chest is only actively growing until Wednesday or Thursday, then nothing until the next Monday. Train each muscle twice per week, and you get almost double the total growing time per muscle per year. Protein is the building material the construction crew uses. Without enough of it, the crew shows up and has nothing to work with. The research-backed target is 1.6 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. For an 80-kilogram person, that is 128 to 160 grams. Spread it across 3 to 4 meals because there is a limit to how much protein your body can use for muscle building in one sitting, roughly 30 to 40 grams. Not all proteins are equal for muscle growth. Animal proteins, chicken, eggs, beef, fish, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, contain the highest levels of an amino acid called leucine. Leucine is the specific amino acid that triggers the mTOR signal, the construction crew call. Plant proteins have less leucine and are absorbed differently. If you are building muscle, prioritize animal proteins at most meals and supplement plant proteins around them. Your muscles need fuel to grow. If you are eating at a caloric deficit, muscle growth almost stops because your body is in conservation mode, not building mode. A moderate surplus of 200 to 300 calories above your maintenance level provides just enough extra fuel for muscle building without excessive fat gain. A larger surplus does not build muscle faster. It mostly builds more fat. Bigger is not better here. Carbohydrates are your muscles' preferred fuel during high-intensity training. Your muscles store carbohydrate as glycogen, and they use it to power through heavy sets. When glycogen is low from a very low-carb diet, your training intensity drops. You lift less. You do fewer reps. The tension signal and metabolic stress signal both weaken. You can grow muscle on a lower carb diet, but you will grow more muscle with adequate carbohydrates to power your training. You send the growth signal in the gym, but the actual building, the protein synthesis, happens at its highest rate during sleep. Growth hormone pulses during deep sleep and accelerates the construction crew's work. When you sleep only 5 or 6 hours, you cut off the highest rate production window. 7 to 9 hours of sleep is not a lifestyle bonus for people who want to build muscle. It is a fundamental training variable, the same as reps and sets. Compound exercises, squats, deadlifts, bench press, rows, overhead press, recruit multiple muscle groups simultaneously. That full body effort sends a larger hormonal signal, more testosterone, more growth hormone than any isolation exercise can produce. Start every session with your compound movements when you are freshest and strongest. Add isolation exercises at the end for specific muscles. Flipping this order is one of the most common growth mistakes in the gym. Here is something that sounds basic, but most gym goers never actually do. Deliberately focusing on the muscle you are training, trying to feel it contracting, increases muscle activation measurably during the set. Research shows that simply thinking about the target muscle during a repetition increases its activation by up to 30%. Same weight, same reps, 30% more signal. That is entirely free and available to you starting your very next set. Going heavy matters, but going deep matters more. Research consistently shows that full range of motion produces more muscle growth than partial range of motion. Even when the partial range uses significantly more weight, the muscle needs to fully stretch and fully contract to generate the maximum growth signal. A full-depth squat builds more muscle than a quarter squat with twice the weight. Lower the ego. Go through the full range. Here is a complete weekly training structure for muscle growth. Monday, chest and triceps. Tuesday, back and biceps. Wednesday, legs. Thursday, rest or light cardio. Friday, upper body repeat. Saturday, legs repeat. Sunday, full rest. Each muscle group trained twice per week. Each session between 45 and 75 minutes. 2 full rest days. This structure gives every muscle twice the growing time per week compared to a once per week split. Every 4 to 6 weeks, take a deload week, reduce your training volume by half, and reduce the weight slightly. This is not a rest week. You are still training, but you are giving your joints, tendons, and nervous system enough recovery to fully catch up with the training you have been doing. Most muscle growth plateaus are not from training too little. They are from accumulated fatigue that the body never got the chance to fully recover from. What you eat before training directly affects how strong your growth signal is. 1 to 2 hours before your session, eat a meal with complex carbohydrates and protein. Oats and eggs, chicken and rice, Greek yogurt and fruit. Anything that fills your glycogen stores and gives your body amino acids to work with during training. Training with empty glycogen stores from skipping the pre-workout meal is like driving to the gym on an empty tank. You get there, but you perform at 30%. Immediately after training, your muscles open up extra pathways to absorb nutrients. Think of them as extra doors on the muscle cell. For roughly 45 minutes to 2 hours after your session, your muscles are pulling in protein and carbohydrates faster than at any other time of the day. Eat protein and carbohydrates in this window: chicken and rice, eggs and toast, a protein shake with fruit. Miss this window and the doors close. Normal absorption, normal rate, missed opportunity. 5 mistakes that are almost certainly slowing your muscle growth right now. 1. Not adding weight or reps to your lifts week to week. 2. Rushing the lowering phase of every rep. 3. Training each muscle only once a week. 4. Not hitting your daily protein target. 5. Consistently sleeping less than 7 hours. Fix any one of these and your growth picks up. Fix all 5 and your results will be unrecognizable in 6 months. If you want to know if you are actually building muscle, track these 3 things. Your training log? Are your weights and reps going up over time? Your body measurements? Is your arm, chest, or leg circumference increasing? Monthly photos? Is your shape changing? The scale is the worst tool for tracking muscle building because muscle is heavier than fat. You can be gaining muscle and losing fat, and the scale shows nothing. Track the things that actually show what is changing. Realistic expectations matter as much as good training. A beginner who trains and eats correctly can expect to build roughly half a kilogram to 1 kilogram of actual muscle per month. That is the fastest growth rate available in natural training. After 2 years, the rate slows to roughly half that. After 5 years, even slower. This is not a reason to feel disappointed. It is a reason to train hard now, while the growth rate is at its fastest, and to stop comparing your progress to unrealistic sources. Hydration is not just about feeling thirsty. Water is a structural component of your muscle cells. They are literally fuller and stronger when you are well hydrated. A 2% drop in hydration reduces muscle performance by up to 10%. That means weaker sets, less tension, weaker growth signal. Drink water consistently throughout the day, not just in the gym. Aim for roughly 30 to 40 milliliters per kilogram of body weight per day as a baseline. Muscle confusion, the idea that you should constantly change your exercises to keep your muscles guessing, is one of the most damaging myths in gym culture. Muscles do not get confused, they adapt. And adaptation, the thing that builds the muscle, requires repeating the same movements long enough to progressively overload them. Constantly changing exercises resets your starting point every time. Pick your core movements, stay with them, get stronger at them. That is what builds muscle. Genetics affect your ceiling, how much muscle you can ultimately build, and how quickly you respond. That is real and worth acknowledging. But here is the bigger truth. The gap between someone with average genetics training correctly and someone with average genetics training incorrectly is far larger than the gap between good and average genetics. Most people never reach their genetic potential because they are making the mistakes in this video. Genetics are the ceiling. Training and nutrition are how close you get to it. Most supplements are either useless or marginal for muscle building. One exception, creatine monohydrate. It is one of the most researched sports supplements that exists, with consistent evidence across hundreds of studies. Creatine increases the energy available in your muscles for high-intensity efforts, allowing 1 or 2 more reps per heavy set. Over months, those extra reps compound into significantly more progressive overload. 3 to 5 grams daily, no loading phase required. 8 principles that determine whether you build muscle or spin your wheels. Progressive overload every week, 6 to 12 reps per set, 10 to 20 hard sets per muscle per week. Train each muscle twice per week, 2 to 3 seconds on the eccentric, 1.6 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, 7 to 9 hours of sleep, 200 to 300 calories above maintenance. Follow all 8 consistently for 6 months, and you will look like a completely different person. Most of the dramatic before and after transformations on social media are from people using anabolic steroids. Their protein synthesis is pharmacologically amplified beyond what natural training can achieve. Comparing your natural progress to these results is like comparing your running speed to someone on a motorbike. Your natural results, built with correct training, nutrition, and sleep, are still genuinely impressive and more sustainable than anything pharmacological. Compare yourself to who you were, not to a filtered post. The best muscle building program in the world does nothing if it is not done consistently. A good program done every week for 12 months builds dramatically more muscle than a perfect program done on and off. Consistency compounds. Every session adds to the last. Missing sessions resets your recovery and interrupts the growth cycle. Pick a program you can actually do every week, then show up every week. The compounding of consistency over time is the actual secret to building muscle. Think of one training partner or friend who has been stuck at the same size for months despite training consistently. The principles in this video are almost certainly what is missing. Share it with them. The difference between knowing this and not knowing it is the difference between training for years and actually building muscle, and training for years and wondering why nothing is changing. Everything in this video is general educational information based on published exercise science research. Individual responses to training and nutrition vary significantly. If you have specific health conditions or injuries, consult a doctor or certified exercise physiologist for guidance specific to your situation before starting a new program. Which of the 8 principles have you been missing? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. If this changed how you think about your training, subscribe. New video every week.